Hi, Julia Watts here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're looking at a brand new collection from Sentimentally Yours, and it's called the Layered Differently collection. So these are the first dies in this collection, and there's also some new additions to the Just Saying stamp sets, stamp collection as well. But we're going to put those to one side at the moment, and we're going to look at the Layered Differently collection. So this is a collection that has 4 brand new die sets with it, and they're all A5 sets. They all come on a magnetic sheet, and hopefully you can see from the packaging that we've got different shapes within this set. So this is the Layered Differently Elegance rectangles, and oh, there's a spelling mistake. No, it isn't. Ignore me. It's fine. It just looks weird. Right, okay. So this is the Elegance rectangles, and you can see obviously on the other side the full size of them as they are A5. Obviously you can use them horizontal or vertically, and they do fit on an A5 card. So that's half A4 folded in half. So we've got on this one, we've got indented corners, and there's a debossed, pierced design on all of these dies. Then you've got a bunch of frames. Let's have it this way because it's easier for you to see. You've got a bunch of frames here, and we've got 5 within that shape. Obviously, as they go smaller, the shape changes. So if you look at this one and look at this one, let's move these out of the way for a moment. Then we can see that the shape changes because as you get smaller you can't do these indentations quite so much, but that will make you a beautiful frame. Obviously if you want to have a smaller, narrower frame, then you go in one, and then you can have a frame like that. Obviously these are meant to be layers, but there's nothing stopping you from having frames. And then let's go in one more because we can, to make a thin frame. That would be a very thin frame. So that's just missing one die out. Obviously if you're doing your layers, you might want to miss out 1, you might want to miss out 2, or you just might want to do adjacents, however you want. So hopefully you can already see the potential of these dies. And then in the middle we've got this oval, long oval, I suppose, elongated oval, and then you've got debossed as pierced detail for the little hearts on either side. Then you've got a plain oval. Then you've got this little guy that reflects the shape of the outside stacks here, and then you've got a circular die which reflects the hearts on here, but they're not pierced, debossed on those, they're just plain hearts. So that's your 11 dies that you get on that set. When it gets exciting is when you bring in the next set. So the next set, the other set, there's 2 rectangles and there's 2 squares in this release. This one's the ornate rectangles, and once again you've got an A5 magnetic sheet, and it fits on an A5 card. So this is your A5 magnetic sheet, so you can see it's going to fit on your card with a little border around the edge. So obviously you can add another matting layer if you want to, otherwise you can just use these to go directly on your A5 card. And these have got straight edges to them. But if what's really exciting is when you start mixing and matching. So if we take the smaller of the dies from the Elegance rectangles, you can see that that's going to fit inside of that, and then you've got spaces to put your pearls or your gems in if you want to. So I mean, I'm using this combo a lot on both the rectangles and the squares because I just love it, absolutely love it. So you can see there that you've already got potential for mixing and matching just with those 2 outside edge dies. Now I'm sure you're saying, well, what can I use the outside one of the other set with the inside one on this one? I don't know. Let's have a look. Probably not. You could. I'm not sure you'd want to, but you could. The option's there. Okay. Back on there. They're not as wide as a lot of the dies that Phil's done in the past because the detail's just on the inside. It's not on both sides. When it's on both, on the inside and the outside, then obviously your die is going to be thicker. But we've just got the cutting edge and the piercing detail on each of them. So they are thinner, but that means that there's more dies on each set. Obviously, Phil could have filled it in with more buttons and things like this on your sheet because you pay for the size of metal, but you've already got loads of buttons, so what's the point? So once again, you've got frames on this. Obviously, you can use whichever way you want to. We can use it portrait or landscape. Talking of which, some of the silhouette stamps, the scenes that Phil did in the past would work really nicely in some of these, I think. So obviously if you want to have a thin frame, miss one out, and you've got one there. You can miss one out again as well if you wanted to, and have another thin frame, or just do that as your mats and layers. Obviously if you want a big frame, you can just get rid of those and have it like that. I'm sure Ilona's going to do shaker cards in her videos. So those are they. Same principle as the other set, mixing and matching your layers. And then you've got this shape oval here and an inner die, and then you've got like a label dies, 3 of those for in the centre. So what can we do? How can we mix and match those? Well, absolutely we can. So you could take that one, and then you could bring in, say, the middle one of the other set, and that's going to fit in there like that. So that's going to work, and that's going to give you a different shape. Then you could take, let's see, for mixing and matching again, take the smaller one won't work. This is why you play. This is why you've got your magnetic sheet. This is why you play. So let's take the smallest one of this one. So give us a frame like that. And then if we wanted to, we could bring in this one from this set. See how they're building up your layers? Obviously, if you wanted to have them next to each other, you could do. And if we actually swing it around this way, I'll line them all up again now. This is how I play with my dies. When I first get them, I fetch them all off. You've got pictures on the packaging, so you can see which sets they belong to. If you're worried about that, don't worry about that. They're meant to be played with. Okay, so that would be my frame that way. Forgive me if it's not right layered up. So we could have that there. I wonder if we can fit that in there. It doesn't fit perfectly actually inside, but remember it's got to cut out anyway. So I think it might be quite nice to have that one, because it's the same shape as those, actually inside there. I can't line it up properly because it's the die. There we go, that's better, like that. And then you could bring in this here, and that could say 30 or 40 or whatever you wanted it to do. So you can really go to town. Obviously don't put 3mm foam tape between each layer, because you're going to have a right stack of cards, and I know a lot of you won't do that nowadays anyway. But can you see the potential? The potential is tremendous for you to do mixing and matching. And obviously it's absolutely fantastic that these fit on an A5 card. And no, I find it quite frustrating that they don't. I'd like Phil to do an A6 set of these layering dies as well. I think that would be absolutely fantastic to have, because I like an A6 card. But when we get to the squares, I'm almost happy, because the squares are 6x6. So those are your 2 rectangles. That's your ornate rectangles and your elegance rectangles. Obviously you can do a lot more mixing matching than I've just shown you. Gosh, we're nearly 10 minutes in already. Forgive me about this, but obviously it's nice to go through it on the first video that we're doing of the series. Then this is what I'm going to concentrate on in this demo here. let's just do one at a time. We've got the graceful squares, and as I said, these fit on a 6x6 card. So you take your A4 card, fold it in half, and then trim it down. It's 14.8 centimetres by 14.8 centimetres, and you still get a little border around, which you'll see because that's what I've done for the demo. So once again, you've got inverted corners on this one and then plain corners on the other one. So these are going to obviously give you that nice gap for your pearls in the corner. And then you've got your frames. So you've got this shape frame, and obviously if you wanted to, you could then stack that on top and switch it around if you wanted to give it a different look. Let's get the next one in so you can see a little bit better. It does fit in a certain way. Grab this here, and so you can fit it in that way if you want to, which gives you a different look. Or obviously the way that Phil's intended it, you can just stick it like that. And as I said, that could be your layer or it could be a very thin frame. And just like before, I'll try and speed this up. If you miss another one, you get a bigger frame. And then you could, if you wanted to, put this one on top as a layer if you wanted to. Or slot it in if you wanted to. Whatever you want. Great frame. Obviously, like I say, if you wanted to switch it slightly to give it a slightly different shape, you can do. It's not as pronounced when you get to the smaller ones, but obviously the ones that are adjacent to each other, the difference is larger. Pop these back on here. No, let's do the biggest one first. There we go. And then that one. And then that one. And then we've got these here, which obviously fit inside each other as mats and layers. Sometimes it's nice to cut them out of paper so you can see what the little frame would look like, because don't forget you could actually cut these adjacent and use the little frame to highlight a sentiment if you wanted to. And obviously you can swivel these so they would be stacked on each other like that, which is quite nice to do as well. Obviously line it up properly, which is really cool. So those are your fancy shapes. They're a bit like do you remember Spellbinders did lots and lots of shapes, but you'd get one shape per pack. You've got lots of shapes here within the pack. Then you've got 3 circles, and then you've got this one here, which I believe is a much smaller version of these here. So that's your graceful squares. As I said, comes on your magnetic sheet, and it will fit on a 6x6 card because the largest die is 140 millimeters by 140 millimeters. And as I've just said, normally 6x6 cards are actually shy of 6x6, so they're 148 millimeters by 148 millimeters. So that's that one. Then you've got your Regency squares, and as before, you've got straight edges on this one. So just to prove it, if you took your largest one, then you took your second largest one out of this one, stack them together, you've got space for your pearls in the corner. And as before, if you wanted to put them the other way around, so you wanted to put this on top of this, it's a little bit weird, but if you really wanted to, you could do. Okay, so them's they. So there's only 2 of the largest dies in both sets, properly. And then with this one, you've got this kind of inverted scallop, which is really pretty. It's a bit like a doily shape, but you can bring in, perhaps not that one, if you wanted to, you could mix and match and bring in, maybe even not that one, because it's a funny shape. It's not a funny shape, but it's a different shape. It's a not a symmetrical shape. If you wanted to, you could bring in that and give yourself a different shape. Just think about mixing and matching them. But obviously we've got these lovely inverted scallops here with that pierced detail, and that makes a really pretty matten layer for you. Then you could, if you wanted to, you could miss one, so you don't have a bigger border, and then you could use the next two for a matten layer here. So that would be really pretty if you did that. Then your inside ones, these I really like. These, if you cut together, grab one. As I said, it's quite a good idea to actually cut them out of paper to beforehand. This is the little frame that you get from cutting these two together. Isn't that pretty? Really pretty. This is from the other set. So this is cutting these two together. That gives you quite a nice little frame as well. And then these are the inside bits. So this is the inside of that, and this is the inside of that. So they're all really useful, I think. So it's just a good idea to play with them. If you think, oh, I wonder what that look like, do it out of copy paper. So that's that. And then you've got, you see, you've got these shapes here, and then this is like a little oval, which is great for your numbers. So those are all 4 of the brand new die sets, which are available to order over on my website, juliawattscrafts.co.uk, and they're also available over at on Phil's store, which is honeypotcrafts.co.uk. And at the moment, those are the I think the only 2 places you can get them. Okie dokie, so that's all the dies. Let's very quickly go through the stamps because we're already at 17 minutes. Okay, so we've got some additions to the Just Saying stamp sets, which Phil hinted at when he did the festive collection. We've got milestone birthdays, which are oh, I'm gonna cough. Sorry about that. Talking too much. Yeah, milestone birthdays. So we've got it's your on your congratulations as little tiny stamps. Yeah, and it's and your are separate, so you can say it's our, I think. You can't say our, but there might be our on the other one. Anyway, so you've got all the big numbers, then you've got the ordinance, the there. Happy birthday today, and it's your on today, happy birthday special, and then you've got in words 1st, 13th, 16th, 18th, 21st, 30th, 40th, 50th, 60th, 70th, 80th, 90th and 100th. So you've got all those on there. That's six A6 stamp sets, cracking number of stamps on there, 42 stamps on there, and you're going to use that all the time. And don't forget, you can use it with the previous everyday Just Saying, as well as the Christmas one that was out just in July. Then we've got the milestone anniversaries. So this is a similar sort of things. You've got on your, on our, it's your, it's our, and today. And then you've got all the different anniversaries, as well as on your, it's our, today, happy anniversary, special. And then you've got all the different special anniversaries, like silver, pearl, coral, ruby. They're all the ones I know rather than the early ones. Again, loads and loads of stamps on there, and there are 39 stamps on that one. Then you've got the acclamation sentiments. In the little ones, we've got 2A and the hour. So there's the hour that can go with the other one if you want to. Dear and you are. And you've got special, amazing, smashing, awesome, super, brilliant, lovely, marvellous, most wonderful, fabulous, best, gorgeous, tremendous, the. So you can have, I suppose, the, well, it's not most. The best, sensational, magnificent, terrific, incredible, precious, beautiful, brave, fantastic, cool, outstanding and funny. Again, loads and loads on that stamp set, and you've got 34 on there. Then finally we've got relative sentiments 2. So if anything's missing from here, then you'll find it on the original relatives one. And we've got boyfriend, girlfriend, pal, couple, great, family, ex, God, neighbour, so you've got godparent, neighbour, parent, we've got, so we can say parents if you want to, colleague, partner, dog, you can dogs if you want, fiance, fiancés maybe, if you've got more than one fiance, carer, cuz, as in cousin, foster, grandchildren, cat, extended, teacher, bestie, other, better, half, nana, mam, ma, da, and gramps rather. So loads again on that one, and there are 32 on that, so a lot of stamps in those 4 stamp sets. So they're obviously going to work with anything in your stash, but obviously they work really well with the new dies. Oh, let's crack on and do some demoing. That would be really good, wouldn't it? Right, so let's work backwards in. So I've got a piece of pure white card which I've trimmed down to 6x6. So it's, as I said before, it's they're never 6x6 cards, they're always shy of that. So it's 14.8 centimetres by 14.8 centimetres. Then, because I can't remember the names of the dies, I'm going to have them in front of me so I can see them. And then I'll be telling you the right thing. So I've used Totally Turquoise card, and I've cut the largest die from the Regency squares out of Totally Turquoise, and you can see that's how it fits on your square card, if I get it straight. And then I've cut the second largest die in the Graceful squares out of pure white, and that's going to sit on there like that. Let me show you that beautiful pierced debossed detail. Really lovely, really lovely. So let's stick these 2 layers together. There's going to be a lot of sticking. You can always fast forward it to the end. Am I bunged up? Hopefully not. I used it this morning. Let me unbung. Gosh, that was bunged up. I think it's the weather, because I put my top on as soon as I can. So I'm just going to put a little bit around the edge, and I'm actually drawing with it so that it doesn't have too much glue. And I just pop this one on here like so, and then give it a wiggle so we can get it straight. Let's go over a bit and down a bit. Up a bit, left a bit. Oh yeah. Only people of a certain generation will know what that means. If you know what that means, name the show in the comments. I'm sure you do know what it is. Is that straight? Not in the slightest. Oh, I can't get these things straight. That'll be better. That's it. That's it. So I'm gonna just put that underneath my mat while I do the other layers, and then hopefully by the end of it, everything will be nice and straight. Okie dokie. So then next, using the Regency squares, I have got, using the largest one and the one next to it, I've got, again, the turquoise, or whatever it's called, Totally Turquoise, and the, that's quite nice actually, offsetting them slightly. Yes, the pure white and the totally turquoise. So these are going to get stuck together. There's no way when we getting those anywhere near the correct borders, but we'll see. So obviously, essentially, these are circles. So don't forget, you can also use them with your existing squares and circles. Mix and match with those as well, because Squares are squares, circles are circle. Ovals and rectangles are different because you get different shapes of ovals and rectangles. But squares and circles, you're good mixing and matching across all your brands. That'll do. Pretty. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Really pretty. Right, so that's going to go under there as well. A little stock of die cuts underneath. And then missing one, and then using the smallest two of these, which I hinted at when I was going through the die. So using the smallest two, then we've got this circle here as well. And I'll show you something that I thought of with these two. In a second. Always a good idea to stick your top on your glue whenever you use it, and then you avoid as much bunging up as possible. Doesn't normally happen in workshops, unfortunately. We always have a bit of a bung situation. Okay, so there's those two together. I have a feeling that that's closer on that side than it is on this side. Let's see if we can pull it over slightly and down slightly. Oh. That's better, I think. Okay, so this is a die cut that I had left over. So this measures, in old money, this measures 4 3/8 inches square. So if you wanted to do a 5x5 card, and this is the debossed double stitched squares, so you've got the stitch and the pierced all alternating on that one. So these two would fit really nicely on there to make a little dinky little card. And we could put all our other layers on top, and obviously do the next layer in the totally turquoise and pop that on a 5x5 card. So you don't have to do 6x6 if you don't want to. Just as a FYI. Let's pop this under here as well. Then we're moving over to the other die set, so that those two layers just were the Regency squares. Then we're moving over to the graceful squares, I think. Yeah, graceful squares, and using these two dies here. So these two ornate dies here together to get these two layers here. I'll get rid of my card. These two layers here. So these two are going to go together. So all we're doing is cutting adjacent dies across the two sets. Obviously mix and match the largest two, because I like to do that. Very simple. You guys who are in the Crafting with Phil Martin and Sentimentally Yours Facebook group, and if you're not, asked to join, you guys I know are going to make some spectacular cards, but sometimes I think it's nice to go back to basics and just look at the idea. I hope I've got the idea right, I'm sure I have, that Phil had when he came up with this die collection. Let me just see if it's the other way. I'm not sure if these are 100% symmetrical. That's better. And then that one's going to go on there like that. Obviously that can go, a big sentiment could go on there, but we're going to go again, we're going to go smaller still. And we're going to use, which one do we use? We're going to use the largest and the middle of the circles. Before I, actually my hands are a mess, before I actually do stick these two together, I'm going to stamp a sentiment on there. So you need, I think that if you can afford it, get either 2 squares or 2 rectangles. Obviously if you can afford the lot, then you'll see some of my videos where I'm mixing and matching between the rectangles and the squares as well. But if you can only afford one pair, I would definitely go for either squares or rectangles. In fact, I'd always go for squares first. I think squares are always the most popular. So if you're on the shelf and don't know what to get squares, because they always sell out first. No matter what brand it is, no matter what design it is, the squares always go first. The only exception to that was when Phil brought out the fancy squares recently, the Christmas ones, and everybody loved the poinsettias, which were on the rectangular frame. Obviously everything's sold out anyway. So let's just go in here and put a little bit of adhesive on the back. I'm just doing it so I've got a bit of cushion really. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually stamp with Barley Blue Versifying Clay, which is one of the new ones. I think it's Barley Blue, it could be Bally Blue. we go posh, we say Barley Blue. My camera seems to be a bit of an angle. Have I locked it? I don't know. Who knows? Probably. I think what we're going to do is we're going to just use this stamp set Milestone Birthdays, and I think what we're going to say is we're going to say happy, and let's go for 70th birthday. I think that's what we're going to try and fit on. If it all goes horribly wrong, then we'll pause and I'll cut another one out and we'll have another go. So you can say, congratulations, it's your 70th birthday. You could say that, couldn't you? Should we do that? Congratulations. Let's try that. I don't know. That's a bit of a big block for that. So I'm going to put congratulations down there and then pick it up onto my block. These are very, very juicy ink pads, these new ink pads. Grab a scrap of card and see how it's going to... That's pretty good. Congratulations. Ooh, there we go. Super juicy. Don't want to press too hard. Congratulations. Right, it's only a tiny stamp. There's no hope that I'm going to get this straight. There's no hope. It's... But it just, because it won't be straight, it just proves that it's handmade. It's your... Oh, this is the dodgy bit, doing the your. It's your... Oh, that is right. It's a little R, it's not a big R. It's your... That's not straight. Of course it isn't. Of course it isn't. Of course it isn't. 70th. Will that fit on there? It will. It's your 70th. See, if I was stood up and if the camera wasn't there, I'd be able to do a better job. It's your 70th. Will I get birthday on there? That's the question. Probably not. Who knows? Who knows? Will it fit? I've got something in there. It won't fit, look. Right, we're going to pause and I'm going to cut another one out and then we'll have another go. Okay, I've cut another one out. So what we're going to do is I want to stand up and work around the camera. Still got something in there. And I'm going to stamp birthday upwards. So birthday is going to go there. Okie dokie. And we're going to pull out 70th again. I don't know anybody who's 70, but I've got quite a few people that I know that will approach 70 at some point in the next 4 or 5 years. Right, let's see if we can get that. Let's go there. Right. Now, I suppose you could say, well, why aren't you lining them all up on your stamping platform? Well, when you deal with the teeny tiny stamps, it's very, very difficult. Very difficult. So let's have congratulations now, and then we can fill in with the little ones. That's the theory. So we're going to have congratulations up there. Hopefully I haven't smudged that. We'll soon find out, won't we? Congratulations. These inks are so juicy, which is a little bit disappointing. It's, and you'd be moaning if they weren't juicy, but I think they're too juicy. You're much better than the last effort. It's only a bit of card, it doesn't matter, does it? I'm not going to delete the fact that I made a mess of it. I'm going to just leave it so you know. It's your 70th birthday. Right, okay. The fact is that you can personalise it, and you can have, you know, your relatives in there, or the fact that it's an amazing friend, all that sort of stuff across the different just saying sets. So let's get that one. And so that's barley blue, which goes really well with the totally turquoise. And that was the milestone birthdays that I've just used. Lots and lots on there. Remember, there's 42 stamps on there because you've got all your numbers and your ordinals as well, or ordinates, or wherever it is. Okay, so that's that, and that's going to come off there like so. I'll just show you. Ooh, always put it in the wrong place. Not 100%, but you know, it'll do. It'll do. So let's have. I still want to use that in a second. Do I? No, I don't. I'm doing without it. We're having this whole conversation between us, aren't we? I haven't gone for inking around the edges on this. I'm keeping it clean. Nice and clean. Top on. So that's all our layers stuck together. And while this one's settling down, we're going to look at the flowers. So we are going to have flowers on this because I've decided this is for a lady. Mind you, a man could have flowers as well. And that ink will be wet. Like so. Right. Okay, so for the flowers, I'm using Floral Finery Magical, which is the ones with the dots on. And I do have one of these left in stock on my website. And we're using the 3-pronged ones, and I'm using not the largest but one, and the next one. So that go on my block? No, I'll use this block then. So again, barley blue. In fact, that's better than the ones I've stamped. Oh, made a mess. I think I used my circle acrylic block. I stamped 4 of these, this size. And apologies for the rocking of the camera when I clean the stamp. Then the next size down one is this diddy little one here. They look a bit weird, don't they? They look like what's it called? The aeroplane blade things, or something that's on a boat. I don't know what they're called. You know what I mean, don't you? The thing that makes them go. And then you use the perfectly plain. And so it's the largest one, so it's this one. So this one fits around here like that. And then this one will fit around like so. And then you pop them through your machine and you end up with these little guys. Just like that. Now I haven't, you could if you wanted to add extra ink on the edges, but I haven't done that. I'm just leaving them plain because I haven't inked anywhere else. I'm just leaving them plain. I'm just shaping them through my fingers. So I've got 4 pairs of this smaller size, and I've got 2 pairs of the larger size. Like so. Should have done this beforehand, but I wasn't sure whether I was going to ink or not. And once you've made them, it's a little bit harder to change your mind. It's not, you know, the end of the world or anything, but it's just a little bit harder to change your mind. So they are quick. The thing is cutting them all out, because obviously there's quite a lot of these teeny tiny flowers and there's only 1 die in the set of each size. So you know, just cut something else while you're doing it. So there are 3 other videos that I've made using these new dies, one of which was my daughter's birthday card, so that has a mix of different things on it, but just shows that you can use it with lots of different things, or use them with lots of different things. Okay, so those are all shapes, so let's stick them all together. It's my mat, here it is. So we're just going to stick a bit of glue in the centres. And obviously, because I've stamped reverse fine Claire, the ink isn't going to move. Doesn't matter if you've not lined them up 100%, nobody will be able to tell. In fact, it's quite hard to line them up 100% anyway. Right, what have we got here? Do I want tweezers or not? I don't know if I do. I think I might manage without. That's going to be... Obviously in the set you've also got 4 petal flowers as well, which gives you an entirely different flower. Dotting tool. Give that a press. middle. Obviously you can cut these out of pattern papers if you want to, or you can use some of the texture stamps to make your own pattern paper, which is what we did before the Floral Finery stamps came out. If you want to, you can also emboss them with an embossing folder. Right, those are they. So we'll leave those just for a minute to set down, and then we'll pop some pearls in the centre. Let's start layering up our card, because that's what we're all about really, isn't it? Apologies for the length of the video. You can always pause and fast forward. So let's get our layers on. I am going to put foam tape on, but I'm only going to put 1mm foam tape on between the layers. Well, it's still going to build up to being 5mm in total, but can you imagine if it was 2 or 3mm? That would be very high indeed. You don't have to if you don't want to, you can just glue them down. Entirely up to you. I'm using the Woodware one because it's the one I stock. And I do find it's quite good foam tape. You don't want a saggy middle, so always put something across the middle as well. I can't wait to see Phil's cards with these. Be quite spectacular, I should think. Okie dokie, let's make sure we get this on straight as we can. I think that looks straight. It's going down. It's on. It's straightish, yay! And now we're on to one of our we'll call them doily layers. I'm just going to put 3 strips on here. Obviously some of these would be fantastic if you've got some of the, the toppers that we always used to have, or decoupage, or stamped images. Whatever you want really will look lovely on these. Doesn't have to be pretty, it can be grungy. Use these in your journals as well with your photographs. It's a layering die. Layering dies are the most useful dies, they really are. I don't think any of us could live without layering dies if we are a user of dies. And then this is your Miss One, and then the smallest 2 of the doily style dies. And this is going on next. Okay. Then we've got this traditional label style one. You can of course have pattern papers on your layers instead of having just white card. You can use embossing folders on some of the layers. The only limit is your imagination really. Right, let's see if we can get this so the handles are straight. Okay. And then we've got our circular sentiment. I've not just put my fingers in it and smudged it. We'll soon find out, won't we? It looks okay to me. And see if we can get that straight. Okay. So that's where we're at. Just little layers, but layers enough. And now we're going to bring in our flowers again and pop a white pearl in the centre, just a white one. And while we're at it as well, we'll stick a pearl in each corner. So I think, do I want 8mm cut pearls in the corner? I might do actually. Yeah, so we'll have 4 of them out the way. It's funny because whenever you're looking for the smaller pearls, all you get is big ones. It's like they know and they hide away from you. I'm not going on her card. Don't want to. I don't know actually whether I think the 8's going to be too big. So, where's my pokey pickup tool? I got it out so I wouldn't lose it, and I put them somewhere, and I know they're here. There they are. Honestly, I drive myself nuts. Let's put the glue on the corners of these as well, while I'm deciding what I want to have. Did I put that the right way? Oh, I did. Thank goodness for that. I didn't think to check. Honestly, the way my week's going, maybe I should have done. Where's my thingy? There it is. Right. This is going to go in the corner. See, it's just perfect for them. It's like he thought about it. Oh, missed. Okay, in there. They all look straight. Yep. Okie dokie, so let's grab a 5 and we're going to put a 5 in there, like so. One there. Oh, ruining it on my finger. Get off. Although it's cooled down, I'm still quite warm. I don't know if that's a dirty mark. That's a reflection. I can't have a dirty mark on you, I'm sorry. It is, it's a bit of card. One sec. It's a bit of black card. Can't have that, sorry. You're going to have to clean yourself up. That's better. There. That isn't 8 going to be too big. I don't think so actually. I think we'll have an 8. We need to give it a good old press though. Oh, that one, not that one. Okay, right. That's me all pearled up. So I have cut some leaves out using this set here, the Floral Finery Fabulous Fronds. These are the ones with the deboss detail in them, and you've got 4 dies on that set. This is an A6 set like the other Floral Fineries. So I've got all those I've cut already. Not sure what I'm going to use just yet, but I do know that I want to get off. you're going to stick. I do know that I want to put, do you know, in the light of day, this Valley Blue isn't quite such a good match as I'd have liked. I do want to do that like that, and I do want to take my smaller ones and I want one either side. Like so. I do know I want to do that. Pretty. I think actually I would have been better off with Warm Breeze, but you know, hindsight's a thing, so I think Warm Breeze would have been a better match than the Barley Blue. But hey ho, it's a contrast rather than a match. That's what we'll have a contrast. Right, let's get some glue on here. Hopefully my pearls don't fall off in the meantime. We may or may not be able to get the leaves in because I don't want it to stick, the leaves to stick outside of my card. So there's no need, if you don't want to emboss, because there's so little of the, because I've done so many layers, there's so little of the plain white card in view that you don't have to emboss with an embossing folder if you don't want to. I have done for some of my other demos, but not on this one. Oh. Now let's see if we can get any leaves in. I think we might just want small leaves actually. I might have been better off having berry branches. They work really well. You know, from the festive release, they work really well with this. Do I want that there like that? That's quite nice actually. Let's get that in there. Bit of glue there, so we'll have to have that leaf there like that to hold the glue, which means it will go outside of my card. So we do the same thing down here as well. Still fapping. And then we'll have that one there. Yeah. We just butcher the leaves into the amount we want. And then we'll have the smaller one so I can keep the bigger piece for the 3-leaf piece for something else. Win-win. Okay, I think that will be it actually. I'm quite happy with that. As I said, I think I'd have been better off using Warm Breeze versus Fine Clair, but it is what it is, and this is what it is. So I hope you found that useful, and you know, the introduction, hopefully that gives you some ideas and gets those creative juices going, thinking about how you can mix and match your dyes. They are wonderful, this layered differently collection. So do watch out for them on my website juliawattscrafts.co.uk, and also over on the Honeypot Crafts website as well. Do like and subscribe if you're not already on my YouTube channel. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think of the new dies, and yeah, name that game show. You'll know what I mean if you're listening. And do check out some of my other videos. Thank you for watching.